Hi there, my name is John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text and tie them to an item from the Dollar Tree. This is for the narrative lectionary, the second Sunday after the Epiphany, and we're looking at the text. It's out of Luke chapter 4, and it's in this text you see Jesus referencing God working outside of the bounds of the Jewish people, working in the foreigners, and which is really kind of seen as a no-no in a way, and it gets people pretty upset that the God they know could actually be using other people, and ultimately they driving Jesus out and things like that. So the idea that I'm working with is the fact that we, through the cross and through Jesus, are included in the promise of God, and that there's so many times that we want to put up closed signs. We want to put up closed signs, and when someone, we could have it's open, and someone comes up and we're like, oh no, I'm sorry, we're open to everybody but you. I'm sorry. But the fact is grace doesn't work that way. Grace is like this. Grace is open. The promise of God is open to all, and our doors are open to all. And so the idea that maybe that our open sign isn't an open and closed sign, but it's an open and open and open sign where it's always open, and that God works on expanding God's kingdom. I can't help this. Quick story. My grandpa and his brother used to ride Harleys, and my grandpa is one of the sweetest men I've ever met in my life. And he tells a story about how him and my grandmother and his brother and my great aunt, they were driving motorcycles, years ago. This is early mid 60s, 70s. They pulled into a gas station that had a sign that said open, and as they pull into the gas station to get gas, it just like out of the movies, they turn it to closed. And my grandpa, this was the days where it's like you could pump it and then you paid, and so he pumps and slides the money under the door and they head off. But it's a hilarious story. But I think, how many times do we do that to people without so much not where we go like this and we see them coming and they're like, oh well, maybe we don't really want them here, or well, the fact is that God has included us in the promise, and if God can include us in the promise, God can include anybody in the promise. As I tell my congregation that all the time, that if I'm allowed here, if I'm allowed to take communion, then anybody can take communion. If God's love is poured on me, that means God's love can be poured out on everybody. So anyway, open and closed, expanding the circle, open up the gates and let the flood waters of grace pour out. All right. Hope that can be a springboard for your own thinking around your children's sermon. And as always, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a fantastic week.